everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from gorgeous Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, technicalities in religion.
Yeah.
Don't use the wrong wine, Dan.
Don't do anything wrong. Nothing counts if you don't do it.
You have to say the thing right. You have to get all the hair under the water. Yeah, so
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But man, rules is rules.
That's on the second half of the show, so to speak. And on the first half, we have some news. Some stuff, Dan, from the week.
Some various news items.
Yeah. The first story I want to look at draws into question the state of critical thinking in America, is how I'm going to...
There's some question about that? Because I feel like there's no question what the state of critical thinking in the United States of America is.
It has caught me completely by surprise, Dan, to find out that Americans in general just cannot really think their way through anything. Anything at all, Dan.
All an enemy of this state would have to do is devise one big escape room, and we've lost. It doesn't even, not a particularly complex one.
Indeed.
Start a tournament, and you've captured every last one of us.
Well, this story has to do with Hobby Lobby.
Oh God.
And the latest satanic panic scare caused by some AI art.
Oh God.
Which showed not completely convincing, but pretty good images of Baphomets on sale at Hobby Lobby, amongst other satanic goods.
Hopefully these are the kind, they're crafty Baphomets that you get to paint yourself.
Absolutely. This thing was a blank slate. You could totally do what you wanted with it.
Oh, I want that.
And there were also just like some just cute little satanic trinkets and knickknacks that you could adorn your house with. And honestly, one thing that is sort of what this like fake product images kind of is exposing to me unexpectedly is there's kind of a need for satanic knickknacks. Like some of these things are cute, right? Like, yeah, I'm fine with them.
Well, the Satanic Temple has a few for sale.
They do? Well,
I think you can buy a little Baphomet.
They should honestly try to get them into Target and Hobby Lobby because
they should.
They look great on display.
Yeah.
Also surprising. The Satanic Panic is obviously a failure in all of its forms, right? Whether it's, teenagers sacrificing chickens under the overpass, right? I think there were stories of stuff like that back in the 80s, that Satanic Panic and weird,
terrifying back then.
Yeah. Finding pentagrams out in the woods, on sort of traced into the soil and whatnot. And it's so scary. I mean,
life is basically the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, exactly. And now, just like with the AI stuff, like it's just exposing to me the fact that the Satanic Panic in general is just a failure of critical thinking, right? Like, it's a failure of people just asking, sort of, what is the probability of this actually being the case, right? Yeah. And for somebody to see Hobby Lobby, an image of Hobby Lobby selling Baphomets, that presumably you would also buy some paints or a bedazzling kit, right? Or something to like dress this thing up. It just strains any anybody with any critical thinking skill whatsoever sees the image and goes, fake.
Obviously
absolutely fake. There's no doubt in my mind, there's no way that Hobby Lobby, is selling this. And what these people fail to do as their next step, and it blows my mind, is to go to oh, I don't know, Reuters, AP,
any credible source of information
anywhere
in the world.
They're even failing to go to their Fox News to find out if Fox News is reporting on this as being, because Fox News isn't going to run with that story, right? I don't think. But think
also,
they would.
literally, you don't have to do that. You can just know Hobby Lobby is Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
They don't sell this shit.
They're owned by wild, crazy Christians, right?
Yeah.
And
famously.
and very famously. And a lot of the comments that were going online about this, they know it, right? This person says, wow, now this is crazy. Did the Christian owners sell? Right? Or are they just in compromise and crossed the line and gone woke?
Yeah.
Right? This is absolutely insane. And a line real Christians would never cross.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it just go on and on and on. And it's like, what is wrong with these people? Like people need to stop commenting before verifying. Right?
Exactly.
And
well, here's the other problem.
They can't even sniff out that this just doesn't smack of reality, right?
Well, the other problem is that, like, if you're not prepared for that, for the very, very obvious fakes,
correct, yes,
you are desperately not prepared for what is coming down the pike for you, because
so true.
There's nothing nefarious in intent when you create a Hobby Lobby carrying Baphomets image.
Yeah,
that's just a goof,
right?
That's an obvious goof,
right?
There's nefarious intent out there, though.
Yeah.
And these people need to wise up real quick.
And they're just not going to. The only ones they will ever question are the ones that just so obviously go against their worldview. Because we already
possibly
know this.
Believe that Donald Trump could be a criminal.
Right.
But they'll believe instantly that, like, every Democrat on the House floor is killing babies for adrenochrome.
Yes. And I mean, we already know how this is going to go, because when confronted with reality, they've had problems parsing it out.
Yeah.
Right. So fake shit and now pictures to back it up. We're fucked.
We're fucked.
We're so,
I mean, that should have been the
deeply completely.
That should be the motto of this show from the beginning.
What is it?
Just TGIA, we're fucked.
Fairly and square. What is it? So fairly and squarely fucked. Is that the what's the Succession?
I don't know.
There's a great line on Succession, but
okay. All right. So, you and I both know that many of the hospitals here in these United States and presumably elsewhere around the world are run and controlled by none other than the Catholic Church.
Great.
Which is fantastic. And I can't see any possible problems with that whatsoever. To wit, the news story out now is that a group, that's in charge or has some control over Catholic hospitals is making decisions about trans care, gender affirming care for trans people.
Okay.
Now, obviously, that group is a concerned but very well-versed group of doctors who understand all of the implications of the matter, all the health implications. Ha ha ha! Kidding! Obviously, it's priests. Oh, God. The people who are making the decisions about the healthcare and safety and lives of human beings under the care of these hospitals,
right,
is a bunch of Catholic bishops who voted on Friday to amend their directives for the U.S. Catholic healthcare organizations. This will now mean that the committee is free to change their quote, this is a document, the ethical and religious directives for Catholic healthcare services.
Great.
Because the people who should be calling the shots for this are obviously bishops.
Right.
Who clearly care deeply about trans people and understand the questions, the medical questions
Right.
faced by this community.
Right.
It's just so dumb. If you out there have someone in your life who is who's screaming about they're cutting off kids' genitals or whatever dumb shit they're out there screaming, you can feel free to point out that, like, gender affirming care, you know what else that looks like? A boy who is a cisgender boy who identifies as a boy, but who happens to have gynomastia and grows some breasts and wants surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has a problem with that.
Mm.
That's called gender affirming care. You know what I mean? Like, if a person who, there's so much gender affirming care that is not trans related that everybody is 100% on board with.
Right.
It's not medically necessary for a boy with gynomastia to have surgery.
Right.
There's no medical need for it. But, it causes great distress.
Yeah.
That's gender affirming care. If someone is in great distress about, their gender identity and something, to do with them, if a girl who is a cisgender girl, if her body produces too much testosterone and they give her puberty blockers to dial that back, that's gender affirming care. No one objects to gender affirming care until it's for a trans kid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Anyway, there shouldn't be Catholic hospitals. That should not exist.
There should not be. We should be very concerned about how the very large percentage of American hospitals that are owned by Catholic hospital groups.
Yeah.
It's an astonishing number.
I think everyone who feels like they're in support of Catholic hospitals should be asked, okay, if the only hospital in your area were some of the decisions were made by a council of imams, would you be comfortable with that?
Right.
I'm going to guess no.
Yeah, but they'll just be like, well, it's not, and it's Catholics, and so I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
In this world right now, that's how people are thinking. So for some reason, I kept thinking of, do you remember death panels while you were talking? Like, and how outraged everybody was at, like, the totally fake idea that American hospitals would have death panels as part of the ACA, I think was when that was. That
politicians were making choices for other people's lives.
Yeah. And it's like, well.
Yeah, if that's not okay, guess what else isn't okay?
Yeah. Well, guess what would even be worse? But anyway. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a beautiful place, Dan. Hell, Poland. Have you ever heard of Hell, Poland?
I've heard of Hell, but I didn't know. I've been to Poland, and it makes sense to me that's where Hell.
This is not spelled Hell. It's spelled Hel. And it is looks like very beautiful place on Poland's Baltic coast.
Oh, really?
The
truth is, Poland is gorgeous. Most of my experiences in Poland were beautiful.
Very popular with the tourists as a destination for the beaches. And it is a very long and narrow peninsula that is tree covered, just green and beautiful, with a white sandy beach that just stretches the length of this peninsula. Beautiful. Really, really, really lovely. Well, there's a bus operator by the name of PKS Gdynia that has been operating a bus route out to Hell that they had designated as 666. You take the 666 to hell, right?
If you have to number your bus routes, that's just a no-brainer right there.
Now, of course, this is obviously appealing to people who know English, because that's not how you say hell in Polish.
Right.
I will not even attempt, because the L is crossed, Dan.
They've crossed their L's. Damn it. What do I do with that?
Pieklo. I have no idea. I have no idea how to say that. But they've caved to Christian pressure.
No.
They've been operating this bus with that name or number or whatever for quite a while, for quite a long time. 10 years, I think, or more. And a conservative Catholic website, fronda.pl, called for the change in the name back in 2018. And they conceded that some people thought it was an innocent joke, but it was, quote, not or hard not to consider it a malicious inspiration, whatever that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
And
what are you talking about?
They said that the designation of 666 would give credence to the horror of soul death and make people less confident of the afterlife.
What?
I have no idea what they're talking about here.
What are you talking
they're
about?
Not making sense. But yeah, this last week, I guess the PKS Gdynia announced that they were going to be turning the last 6 upside down. It is now the 669.
Oh man!
And the Christians have won.
Damn. Oh, you know what they should have done? They should have made it the 616, because in some of the manuscripts of the early Bible, it was 616, not 666.
Yeah.
That the other thing is that there used to be, I remember there was a story a while ago where there was a flight from either Oslo or Stockholm to Helsinki in Finland. And it was flight 666 to HEL, like the
cute.
Like HEL is the abbreviation for the airport in Helsinki.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. But have fun with it, guys. It's fake. It's not real.
I also just looked up hell in Poland. It's just outside of Gdansk, but also it's a penis. That peninsula that you were saying, it's just a dick. So that's fine.
Aren't all peninsulas, if you have a dirty mind?
No.
Dan.
No, not all, but this one is. It's Floridian in its phallicness.
Okay. I mean, I guess Italy is not terribly phallic.
It's a boot. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take us to the UK now. We're getting very European. And in the UK, a new survey has come out. There's new data from the World Values Survey, which obviously didn't cover just the UK. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to call it that. But some of the news, the news out of the UK is particularly fun. One of the things that it asked is, which, if any, do you believe in? And it listed the ideas of hell, heaven, life after death, and God.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's been asking this question going back since the early 80s. Possibly before, but this graph I'm looking at only goes back to 81. And one of the interesting things about it is, first of all, okay, I'm not going to bury the lead here. The first thing, the big headline issue is that belief in God is below 50%.
Okay, nice. Good.
Congratulations,
awesome. UK.
Right.
Well done.
Although people identifying as atheist is at just like 21%. So
there's some disconnect.
What are you guys doing?
It's fine. It's normal.
It's a scary word. I maintain, there are different ways to define the word atheist. I maintain all y'all are atheists. If you don't have a belief in God, what does that mean? Anyway, going back to 81, there is one belief that has barely changed since 81. It has remained below 30% of people in the UK. So fewer than 30% of people in the UK believe in hell.
Oh.
And has been that way consistently going back into the early 80s.
Interesting.
Also,
so even when there were more, like there was a large number of people that believed in God.
yeah, like 75% of people believed in God.
Yeah.
Fewer than 30% believed in hell.
Good.
It went
All right.
it went up a little bit in the 90s and 2000s. I think people wanted certain people to go to hell. and then dipped back down. Interestingly, a similarly flat line just below 50%, between 50 and 40%, life after death. Even when people believed in God at 75%, fewer than 50% believed in life after death. What are you guys doing? And it stayed pretty even, dipped a little bit in 2019, and has gone up a little bit in 2021, which is the last date that we have for this. I find that astounding. So the graph line for the belief in God has just gone sort of down, down, down. And the belief in heaven, to me, this is just so perfectly human, right? Like, belief in things that I like or that make me feel comfortable, I'm going to stick with. Things that I don't like or make me feel icky or weird or uncomfortable,
yeah,
I'm just not going to believe in those ones.
Right.
It's so perfectly human to do that.
So what is it?
But yes.
What's the number?
Of which?
Of people who believe in heaven.
Well, so back in 81, it was at just under 60%. Then it fell. By 2019, it had fallen to like maybe about 35%. Now it's up over 40% again. I don't know why it's jolted up a little bit. And belief in hell jolted up a tiny bit in the last few years as well. It's just so weird. What are you guys doing? Humans are bad at thinking. That's just the facts.
Is that the theme today, Dan?
What's that?
Is that the theme of the show?
It is 100% the theme of the show, and it will continue through. It's the theme of the show every week, but we're stating it outright on this show.
Goodness gracious, yeah.
Strangely, also, it was broken down by demographic. By we talk about the various generations. Your boomers, your Gen Xers, your millennials, etc. That's getting a bit jumbled, actually. Gen Z still the lowest in terms of belief in God.
Yeah.
And they're below 40%. Somehow in the UK, boomers have now dropped below Gen X in belief.
Really? Wow.
Boomers are below the 50% line. Gen X seems to be somewhat above the 50% line, how did that happen? I want to know what happened there. I'm doubting all of these figures now.
Yeah. Well,
boomers and millennials are at the same point.
That is weird. I don't like.
Millennials had a jolt upward.
I
don't get it.
Yeah.
UK, will you guys get your act together, please?
Like
someone call me and tell me what's going on.
As an American, whenever I as a Gen Xer, whenever I feel like my values have aligned with boomers' values, I know something is wrong.
Yeah.
So
that is a very good bellwether.
I know I've run afoul of something when I'm like, what? Me and this boomer, we agree? What?
You guys agree with me? Oh, I need to rethink everything.
It's a joke, boomers.
We're kidding, boomers. Thicken up your skin. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't put down the iPad. Stop writing the email. It's just a joke.
They honestly have become like history's punching bag, though. So
they totally deserve it.
Sorry, boomers, that you're going first, but we're rewriting your history.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know you're not going to like it, but
yeah,
it's fine.
You did some good things.
Yeah, there were some things.
Mostly not, but you did a few.
All right.
Not that we did anything great. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but like that's what our whole generation was about, Dan.
not doing anything.
Yeah. So like we did what we were supposed to do.
we held to our core beliefs.
Anyway, here we are, Dan. Once again, talking about Hamtramck, Michigan. Hamtramck, Michigan. I cannot for the life of me recall why we brought them up last time. Not specifically, at least. I'm sure it had something to do with the fact that they have a very, very large Muslim community there. In fact, it's Muslim majority, I believe, by a long shot at this point. It is quite possible.
It's a little known fact that Hamtramck is an Arabic word meaning friend. That's not true at all.
I think that's even closely true. That's the truth. We might have brought him up, brought Hamtramck up back in 2015 when it became the first city in the United States to elect a Muslim majority city council.
Oh, I do remember that.
I remember that. I quite possibly we talked about it then. We might also have talked about it when let's see, just very recently they elected an entirely Muslim city council and mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been when they elected the mayor that we ended up talking about them. Well, here's the deal, and I know I've said it on the show. I can't remember exactly when or in what context, but at the time that these things were happening, there were a lot of liberals, sort of, especially the liberals in Hamtramck, that were patting themselves on the back because it was just this display of diversity and it seemed to almost be a rebuke, of the Islamophobic rhetoric in this country, especially at the hands of one Mr. Donald Trump. But I
love the notion. I'm just going to break in and just say I love the notion that an entirely like monolithic religious like leadership is somehow diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
But go on.
Well, but I think I said something along the lines of this strange alliance that the Democratic Party has formed with these social conservatives in the form of, Muslims in the Muslim community, that it was a bad idea. And that it was I can't remember if I made any predictions. Well, here's one that I do think was fairly easy to see coming, and I think we could have answered it correctly if asked back then. If this Muslim majority, now Muslim monolith of a city council, what they would do when it became time for Pride Month. Would they vote to fly, or would they allow City Hall to continue flying pride flags during Pride Month? What do you think would happen in that situation with all these very socially conservative Muslims on the city council? What do you think, dear American liberal Democrat up there in Hamtramck, is going to fucking happen?
Right.
Well, they have voted to bar pride flags from being flown on city property. And the the liberals of Hamtramck have been caught completely off guard.
Oh my God.
They did not see this coming, and they are outraged. They said, this is the former mayor, Karen Majewski. She says there's a sense of betrayal. She's Polish American, right? We supported you when you were threatened, and now our rights are threatened, and you're the one doing the threatening.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, of course, because that is what religious conservatives do when they are in power. They don't care that you granted them space that you
Right, no.
you felt, going around patting yourself on the back for, look at how welcoming and how accommodating and whatever we are, right?
Yeah.
And you should be those things. But don't be surprised when they're in the majority that they're going to fucking screw you over. They don't hold the same values, they don't like your values, and they're going to shut them down.
Well, it's just when you get fundamentalist, that's a loaded word, but when you get like intense conservative religion, it doesn't matter what the religion is.
Yeah.
They don't care about anyone but them, and they don't believe that they should be beholden or answer to anyone but their idea of their deity.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, guess what? You're fucked.
Yeah. This is from the new Mayor Amr Ghalib. He was elected in 2021 with 67% of the vote. He is the United States' first Yemeni American mayor. He says that he tries to govern fairly for everyone, but said that LGBTQ plus supporters had stoked tension by, quote, forcing their agenda on others. Mm-hmm. There is an overreaction to the situation, and some people are not willing to accept the fact that they lost. So he's saying, we're in power, so fuck you.
Yeah.
And so this is the unholy alliance between the Muslim community in this country and the Democratic Party. It will come back to bite the Democrats on the ass. And I believe that is what I said before on the show. And here it is.
Yep. I mean, I think it's so easy to see coming. And that's, this isn't an anti-Islam screed. This is what happens with religion.
Yes.
This is the same complaint that we have when fundamentalist Christians get into power, which, we've been complaining about and pissing about for forever. It's the same problem.
Yeah. Yep.
But, these ones are in a minority, so yay. Anyway, all right, I'm going to take us to California, out in Sacramento.
Ooh.
Land of Enchantment, I believe is what they call it.
Sacramento?
Yeah, that's not true at all. There is in Sacramento. So in Sacramento, there's a small chain of taquerias. If you're into Mexican food, don't go maybe to Taqueria Garibaldi, but
why is that?
Well, we'll get to that. They did offer a really unique perk to their employees, which was, I think a lot of their employees were Latinx people, people of Latin origin, and they tend to be very Catholic. So it was interesting, an interesting perk when they brought in a priest to talk to the employees.
Oh,
and
interesting. Okay.
I guess minister to them.
Okay.
And then the priest literally took their confessions.
Oh, wow.
Which is nice, having access to your own work priest. You want your day-to-day priest, but it's good to have your work priest.
So would they just slip back to the walk-in and
yeah, exactly.
Quick little confessional.
Let's go by the by the produce.
That is guaranteed the holiest thing that has ever happened in
the walk-in.
That's not.
Oh, some things happen in the walk-in. Don't kid yourself. There's probably a whole kink about it. Keeping it cold. Anywho, it turns out that this priest was not a priest.
Oh.
That it was all a lie, and it was a scam by the owners of the restaurant to get the employees to admit that they or to talk about work-related stuff and get them to cop to shit. As a ploy to not pay overtime.
What a dick. What the
Like
fuck?
literally the dickest move possible to literally try and deny your employees money that you owe them by tricking them into admitting that maybe they didn't work as long as they said they did, or something.
Oh.
By lying to them about a priest.
Dan, this is why you need to make sure you have plenty of community theater in your life.
So you
can spot the actor when he comes walking in. You're like, hey, weren't you in A Midsummer Night's Dream?
There you go.
Right? There you go. You were bottom, weren't you?
What? How dare you do this? Hey, man, a gig's a gig. What do you want me to say? Wow.
That is outrageous. That is so vile. I can't even believe it.
I mean, look, the world is full of people preying on the religious feelings of the credulous, but that is an especially gross thing. Fortunately, they were caught in it.
Yeah.
The owners are being fined $100 and something thousand, which isn't a lot.
No.
But they're also having to pay back pay.
Good. Okay.
Like $70,000 in back wages to their employees.
Holy shit!
Who hopefully have all had the good sense to leave the employment there.
No, there's a lot of good people. They like the people.
It's
a good community.
Can we bring the priest back? I know he's not a real priest, but I really liked what he had to say.
I felt a connection I really never had with a priest before.
He was
good.
Yeah, can we just bring him back?
Yeah.
No, wear the costume. Why are you not in don't come in here in shorts. What are you doing? Anyway, that's really something. Next it's going to be AI priests being tricking people. Well, friends, if you have any thoughts or prayers about this or any of our stories, feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and pray them at us. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank.
Dan.
Mario Murillo. I don't know who he is, but he is a guy. He has apparently a show. And he's got some thoughts. Here's the thing. You and I have played many clips of prophets like Kat Kerr and Robin Bullock.
Yeah.
Just saying the cuckooest things, especially as it regards Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah.
Making bold proclamations about his imminent return and how, Biden will be put in jail and he'll come back and he'll be reinstated and he was president the whole time and blah, 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 blah. Mario Murillo sees maybe a problem with that. So we're going to let him talk about it.
All right.
I'm dealing with it again because now I believe that Trump's reelection will be impacted by false prophets, making us all look crazy. We have to disavow, because Trump is running again, we need to reiterate again where we stand. We have to stand for what's right. And I'm doing it as a soul winner because the audiences that I speak to have become aware of these people. And places like Right Wing Watch, especially, and others are using it as ammunition against Trump right now. And I think and more than that, it's dangerous because they're using it as ammunition to people that I want to reach for Jesus. And I want them to know we're not all crazy.
Oh.
Well, somebody actually caught on, Frank.
Wow.
I was wondering when someone was going to figure out that this is not doing good things for you guys.
So he's calling on all the prophets to just tone it down a little.
You guys, shut the fuck up. You're making us look dumb.
Oh, that's what. But Kat Kerr, of all people, is not afraid of looking dumb.
No. No.
She has no clue what looking dumb even looks like.
No.
Because
all of these people have, like...
she is insane.
And the thing is that they're correct, because they have enough people following them that you and I have heard of them.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they just continue doing what they're doing?
Yeah.
If that many people are into it.
Well, yeah, and we've heard of Kat Kerr. Have you heard of Mario Murillo before?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
So
He's speaking reason.
yeah.
He sounds
the voices that have a tiny bit of reason, and even his reason isn't very reasonable. Like, he shouldn't be worried about these people because they're going to hurt Donald Trump's election.
correct.
That is the worst reason to disavow these people. There's a million reasons to disavow these people, and that's the dumbest of them.
But that was a line too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were fine until they ruined it for Trump. No.
Oh, golly.
Not great. All right. We had some folks write into us, call into us. So let's dive into that. Our good friend Claire from Buffalo writes in to say, Dear Frank and Dan, I work as an overnight clerk in a hotel/apartment building 2 nights a week. The hotel was built over 120 years ago and went from fancy hotel back in the day to modest hotel to flop house to its present incarnation after extensive renovation in the 1980s. Some of our guests or residents, at least, and at least one of my coworkers, think the place is mildly haunted.
Oh, okay.
I like mildly haunted. A resident came in from work last night around 2 a.m. He's a nice guy, and he works for the local metro bus service. While I was getting his mail, somehow the subject of the hotel being haunted came up. I offered up my mild observation that in the 2 years I've worked there, I've never seen anything odd, either in person or on the surveillance cameras. He said that several long-term residents have told him that they've seen some freaky shit, like ghosts getting into elevators, because apparently an incorporeal being needs to get a lift needs a lift to get a lift, and that one of my coworkers has seen ghosts sitting in the lobby's leather chairs.
Oh, yeah.
He then added that when he moved in, he came home one day to find that everything in his medicine cabinet had mysteriously emptied itself out into his sink. But don't worry, he assured me. I went to my pastor and got some holy water and anointed the place, and I haven't had any trouble since then.
Huh.
We've had 2 tiny earthquakes during the time period covered by his medicine cabinet vomiting out its contents, but never mind that. Since I'm paid to be pleasant and agreeable to people, not something that necessarily comes easy to me, I congratulated him on solving his problem and expressed my good wishes that things continued to go smoothly.
Well done. Yeah.
Haints! They got haints! I just, can I just, here, just as a public service announcement, if you live in a place where people think they see ghosts, please put in a carbon monoxide detector. That is a legit thing. One of the effects of having too much carbon monoxide in your air is that people start having minor hallucinations. That's legit. Like, a bunch of investigations into quote unquote haunted houses have just turned up that, like, oh shit, there's a gas leak.
That's ridiculous. Is that true?
Yeah. That's true. That's 100% true.
Oh, that's funny.
So
really
carbon
funny.
monoxide detectors for everybody.
And also carbon monoxide is really dangerous.
Yeah.
Potentially deadly. So you should have one anyway.
It can't hurt you to have one.
Not just as a means to like ward off ghosts.
Yeah.
Or visions of them, at least.
Or visions of ghosts. We have a recorded voicemail from Germany. And it turns out, Frank, that this is your week of predictions coming true.
Oh,
you
really
are better. You're batting better than Kat Kerr.
Oh, Okay, cool.
So
Let's hear it.
we'll let Daniel tell us about
Okay,
it.
cool.
Hi Frank, hi Dan. This is Daniel from Germany. I was listening on your older episodes, trying to catch up with everything you made so far. When I was on episode 104 today, I heard of the story of this student body president from the Northwest Christian University, who came out as an atheist openly, and there was no punishment, no official punishment so far. But the university was kind of cool with it because it's the way they want their students, strong and with an opinion and stuff. And Frank made a joke about, well, guess who's changing the name in 5 years from now and dropping the word Christian from it. So I checked it out, and guess what? Since 2020, it's called the Bushnell University. So I'm not sure if you caught up in this or even reported it, but I thought it's a kind of funny little story to bring up again and mention it. Anyway, thanks for all the entertaining episodes so far, and keep up the good work.
You did it, Frank.
I was right. I was right. I was right.
And no, we didn't follow up on that because the second we report on a thing, it is out of our brains forever. We rely on you guys to remind us of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, wow.
So thank you so much.
I mean, it obviously seemed obvious at the time, right? So
yeah,
and wow, I called it, Dan.
You called it.
Look at me, I'm a prophet, Dan.
You are.
I'm a seer.
Get out of the way, Robin Bullock.
I see things, Dan, and I reveal them too. I'm a revelator. A prophet, seer, and revelator.
You are a seer. I love that word because it's literally just a seer.
Yeah.
A one who sees.
It's what we all do. Well, not all of us, but most all of us do every day.
Have you eyes? Congratulations, you are a seer. Unless you're blind, in which case you might have eyes and not see. Okay. This is an unsigned email, but it says, "Howdy guys, first time, long time. Y'all got me out of the LDS church and made sure I stayed out through much adversity. So thanks for that.
Wow,
that's amazing.
That's great. Love to hear that.
You know what? That made all 11 and a half years of doing this show worth it. If we just got one person out, that's
episode 603. Yeah, we're done, guys.
We did it. We did it. So the person continues, "I'm living with my significant other's elderly parents at the moment. His father has long COVID and is in poor health at 78, but that man will watch some Harry Potter movies. We are talking 2 a day, pausing and writing down names in the credits. What? It's a whole thing. What? Occasionally, how many are there? There are not that many. Okay. Occasionally, he will sit down next to me and pontificate on random musings. Some racist, some religious. He descends from the pioneers. He's third or fourth generation LDS. Sometimes heavier life stuff. One day, on this day, the man sat down next to me and said, 'You know, it's stupid that everyone thinks in heaven everyone will have wings. I know it's in all the pictures, but the Lord will have us transmogrify to get from place to place. If they can do it at Hogwarts, they can do it in heaven.' And with that, solemnly walked away."
Because Hogwarts is real.
Well, you know, if it's good enough for J.K. Rowling, it's good enough for Jesus.
Oh, golly.
Literally, the person goes on to say, "With this, do I start a burner social media account for hashtag Harry Potter Mormonism?" That's amazing. It's so funny. It is interesting how people how their conceptions of, various theological ideas become shaped by the media that they consume and what they hell was one thing in people's minds, and then Dante came along and hell was a totally different thing that it has basically stayed with various modifications for centuries. It's just so funny to me, like how influenced people are so much more influenced by popular media and the books of the day and the various, whatever's popular in the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're way more influenced by that than their holy book by far. But they would never admit that.
Right.
Cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's cute. Do we have some folks to thank?
We do indeed, Dan. We have a couple new patrons over on Patreon. We have a new priest by the name of Pilar. So thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
And we have a new prophet, seer, and revelator. Not just me this week. We have... oh, thanks in advance for your name. Poopy McFarty Pants.
Yes.
Woo!
Well done,
Welcome!
Poopy McFarty Pants. I like when you guys make Frank say names that he doesn't want to say. Always a good thing.
And if you'd like to join these kind individuals, you can do so. Go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab.
Yeah.
And that was all.
Become a patron just to make Frank say whatever dumb name you choose for yourself.
If you must. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. All right, Frank.
Yes, Dan.
Here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stories we didn't do for this week was a story reported on by Hemant Mehta over at his Friendly Atheist Substack. Coming out of the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas.
Oh.
None of this Missouri nonsense. Let me
Yeah.
tell you that right
Okay.
now.
So the Kansas City that was properly placed.
That's right. Not that little nugget that blooped over the border there. And there was a very serious problem in the Archdiocese, which was that several of their priests in different parishes were using the wrong wine for the Eucharist.
No.
It was adulterated wine. It was not wine grown, and it was what it probably was?
Okay.
Good wine. It was probably just decent wine.
They were just tired of the normal Eucharist wine, and they went out and they found themselves a lovely Bordeaux.
They found exactly. They were. You know what I want? Can we have a Zinfandel? Can we just have a nice Zinfandel for the blood of Christ?
I'm feeling I have an Italian, a nice Nebbiolo. It's light. It's delicious. Let's freshen things up a little bit.
It'll be
so good with the host. It'll pair lovely with the host.
It's such a well-rounded flavor. No, absolutely not. So apparently, this was such a catastrophe that literally all of the masses celebrated with these wines going back years don't count.
No.
They are null and void. That was not a mass. All of those people there did not go to church that day. Shut up.
That is so dumb. No, you're kidding me.
No, absolutely
the bishop
not.
nullified, or archbishop, whoever it was, nullified all of the masses that these priests had performed.
Well, no, the priests themselves nullified it. The bishop just said stop doing
He acknowledged it. He pointed it out. He said,
exactly. And they've reached out to the Vatican for counsel in how to handle this very, very difficult, disturbing problem.
Oh no, what about like the little old women who were attending mass every day, right? Like for the last few years of their lives to get good with God, right? These little murderous old women who were like getting good with God, and now they have to like go to hell because these priests just wanted just a nice little
they
something with a nice
they
bouquet.
Were devoted Catholics, and lo and behold, they were not. It's such a weird thing. You know, we have talked about this kind of thing. There was you remember that there was a story not too long ago about a priest who had been using the word "we baptize you in the name of blah blah blah" as opposed to "I baptize you in the name of blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And
it was sort of the royal we of baptisms,
right?
Yeah.
And just that little flub was enough that like all of these people, they were having to track down everybody that this guy had baptized and re-baptize them because they weren't real.
So dumb. So dumb.
It's just, and the thing is, okay, and you know, I'm going to also tie this into a story that I read in an Am I the Asshole thread. You know, these Am I the Asshole threads that are out there where people are asking about like, and this person was like, my brother married a Jew who won't let us bring our kinds of food and cook it in their stove and has all these dumb rules about food in their house and won't cook this, that, and the other. And we went over and I used their upstairs microwave instead of the downstairs microwave, and they got mad at me, and I'm now mad at them, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, and one of the things that happened was that the comment section did in some parts devolve into a very anti-Semitic,
oh boy,
look at how stupid Judaism is.
Right.
As though Christianity isn't every bit as stupid like we've been discussing.
Correct. Yeah, they're all dumb. If you like, for so many reasons, they're dumb. But if you like have these little hang-ups, right, where God is getting like really persnickety about like little tiny details. First of all, you're not it's no longer this, wow, look at how powerful and blah, blah, blah. It's, look at God, he's so petty, right? Yeah. He's so small and cares about minutia.
You are shrinking your God down to the tiniest,
You've just
saddest.
turned your God, yes, into something pathetic, right?
Yeah.
Who would send that little old woman off to hell because her priest had chosen the wrong wine.
Because rules is rules. What am I going to do?
Well, she was actually a really sweet woman.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
Mildred, I love you, baby, but rules is rules.
I've got this
nothing I can do. My hands
here.
are tied.
Got this logbook with all the time she went to church for the last 5 years, all crossed out for some reason. Go to hell, Mildred.
Oh my God.
See ya, Mildred.
It's so funny. I just, it's funny because you and I were talking before the show. You talked about the Mormon thing.
Yeah.
Of our, baptisms being sort of it's very important. We do baptism by immersion.
Right.
And every hair on their head has to go under the water.
Every single last hair. Every dumb little hair, or else God is sitting there. Nope, not baptized.
No bit of clothing can rise above the surface.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Question mark. Like, it's like, and what's really funny about that is that, like, if a couple hairs did stay above the water, but no one saw it, we're good. It's totally fine. We're totally good.
Well, I mean,
but
you
if
say
someone
that.
saw it,
You say that, Dan, but that person who was on watch, like, I don't know, maybe their soul is in peril now too, but it's on them, right?
Oh
and
my
like
God, it's
that poor person who thought they were baptized. We don't know what's going to happen to them, but they're not, Dan.
No,
they're not. That's why the witness is such an important role, right?
Yeah.
To make sure, you have to make sure that all of the hairs that go under the water. That must happen.
Raises up out of the water just briefly or whatever.
Yeah. I think, Dan, though, this is what the millennium is for. To sort all of this out. Like all these poor people who thought they were baptized and they weren't.
You just gave so many Mormons PTSD with that phrase. You non-Mormons do not understand that the phrase, that's what the millennium is for, is a huge deal. Like, that is their get out of jail free card. We'll figure it all out. We'll have 1,000 years to sort through all of these minutiae and technicalities.
That's why Heavenly Father promised us the millennium so that we can.
Actually, now that I think about it, maybe that's genius? Question mark.
The Mormons have a lot. They solved a lot of problems.
Catholicism and Judaism need to get themselves a millennium.
So that
just get yourselves a get out of jail free card. Look,
that's what the millennium.
You're trying. You're doing it as best you can. If there's a technicality, we'll sort it out afterwards. Yeah, it's fine.
God is just. He's fair.
And that's the thing.
You know?
How can they believe that God is just and still have this legalistic idea of their God?
Yeah. Well,
I do,
yeah.
I've always said that I love, the Jewish tradition of like finding loopholes, like holding fast to the technical nature of God's word, of the laws.
Right.
But then finding the loopholes, it's astounding to me.
There's a willingness to trick God almost, right? To sort of trick him back. Right.
Yeah. He played this joke on us about not letting us do the thing on the day or whatever.
So, we found this way. God. You thought you got us. But now the elevators just go up and down on their own.
Right. We don't have to strung a wire around the whole neighborhood. Now that's our house. Fixed it.
Yeah.
It's like, but what's funny to me is that both sides of that equation, both the technicality of God needing everything to be just so, or you're fucked,
right,
and the technicality of finding the way to keep it quote unquote just so, but also I got to work around.
Yeah,
like both sides of that are insane to me.
They're insane, but I think the Jews actually are. They have it figured out. Like if you have a God who's highly critical and in all these little minutiae, right? Like if he's like so detailed and concerned about all these little things, then if he missed something, he didn't miss it. He just didn't say it. He just didn't.
It's impossible for him to miss something.
He left you that space, so you should take it. Right.
If there's a loophole, God intended for there to be a loophole. He
intended it to be there. Right. And
I get all that.
That's genius. Right. Like if you're going to deal with that God, the Jews have the right response.
I feel like the Jews' God is a dungeon master. They're all just playing religious D&D and they're trying to like
just rolling that 10-sided die.
Gotta game the system best you can.
Jesus Christ.
I just think that the if your God rests on technicalities in any way, that is just a stupid God.
Well, here's the deal though, Dan.
Sad.
Here's the deal. The believers are obviously getting something out of it, right?
Okay.
Maybe not like they're not fully aware of this, right? But there's something psychologically that they're getting out of having a God that's this steeped in technicalities, right? Like what does it mean to them to like be hanging on to like this bishop who's like, that's the wrong wine. All these masses are stricken from the record, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean for the people who are falling in line and going, oh God, oh shit, like we did that.
Yeah.
Like, is it just they now know they really need to be on their toes, right?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just,
for me, it's annoying, right? Like I would be like, fuck, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, God did not nullify all the masses just because the wrong wine was used, right? Like that's on me, the priest, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not on all the parishioners who were here doing what they were supposed to do, right? And had faith in my competence, right? Like,
and obviously it doesn't matter. We'll correct it.
Yeah.
But like looking back at the problem, it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's another story about a priest who had the same problem with the priest that did his baptism said we baptize instead of I baptize or whatever it is. And he was already a priest. And what he realized was, well, if my baptism wasn't valid, then my ordination to priesthood couldn't possibly have been valid either.
Yeah.
And therefore, the ordination, the various like sacraments and all the baptisms that I've done and all of the weddings that I've done, none of those are valid.
Right. Yeah. Catholics need to get a millennium.
Get a millennium, you guys. You need something. You need to be able to just say, "Oh, that'll be sorted out later.
Yeah.
It's okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, these guys. It's all right. Well, hopefully we've thoroughly offended everybody. If you would like to write into us and tell us why we're going to hell technically, please feel free to do so. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And if you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/members-only, and it gives you some options there.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.